No, 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 no heroes. No, 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 no heroes. No heroes, baby.
All right, welcome back, Tamers. We are now here for round 2. We're gonna have a spicy match up right for you, or unless you've seen this before, but I don't think you've seen these two decks. So, bring us in. What are we gonna see today?
So we're gonna have Derek Lam on Machine, and the other matchup is, I believe, BLStar. You said?
Yes, it is gonna be Bildstarmon control. I mean, I didn't see Bildstarmon aggro in my life before, but there's options.
Two decks that you don't see often. Definitely have not seen BLStar post the EX5 metagame. The deck used to be quite good because of the Garurumons to give you that additional draw power, setting up your trash for your 7-cost options. But ever since then, maybe this player has found a way to make it work. Machine, good old Machine. Can't really go wrong with, a deck that has almost infinite protection. Only
That
really gets removed by a few things. But I believe Derek is the kind of player that he doesn't typically play the traditional style of Machine where they tend to evo in the back. He's always the kind of player that tends to play more on board, slamming the Machinedramon and then developing from there. But we'll see what kind of style. And we're just going to see the analog right away for cost, building up his resources. He has no idea what he's playing against, and Demi-Mara gets flipped.
I mean, Demi-Mara is like a pretty unusual Digimon that you don't see around anymore, because Sunamon just replaced it
so much
for
better.
most of the decks. But seeing this is just gonna be like a kamikaze style deck. And speaking of kamikaze, Impmon being hard played, so we like to see that, and also Gilmon. So
and also the Gilmon. So for what's worse, the Machine player is going to be taking at least 3 damage here and milling some cards. And like you said, the Demi-Mara not seen as often, and that's mostly because Purple as the deck has evolved past like the scatter mode engine to like get all of its undeletions.
Oh, right. So first of all,
Emperor,
we see a card being discarded to draw one and gain 1 memory, and then the Digimon Emperor being like a godsend in this situation.
Yep.
Gabumon not being able to raise without paying that 2 memory tax. But this is still though like 3 swings that are unblockable as of now, unless there's like a black ace card, which I know for certain
not yet.
Bandai's not printing it. It would be disgusting if they do so.
We will get eventually the Cyberdramon Ace.
But it's a 5-cost instead of a 4-cost, because Bandai had some foresight with Prime Memory Boost. It would be really, really broken if you can just play
very broken
an ace card. But yeah, but I would assume someone's gonna leave the Gabumon in raising, so there's no drawing and trashing potential option cards in the trash right now.
Oh, it looks like he does want to raise, which somewhat makes sense. I think the player here gets the 1 memory, so at the start of the main phase, so not too bad. And at least he gets to use his level 4 when Digivolvings, which I think is the most important thing for BLSTARs, to resolve those draw 1, trash 1 chains.
I mean, if he has to go, you know what? If I say if they don't have it, they're gonna have it anyway. So he's gonna draw and draw 1 more and trash 1. And then he's gonna swing with it to draw 1 more and trash 1. It's pretty good.
Not too bad. Digimon Emperor here, if the Garurumon dies, can at least grab him a card. Oh, and I believe that's the Devimon.
So from BT15.
Yes. So the Devimon is sort of the package that some BLSTAR players have pivoted towards. You have the Devimon option. That's just a 1-cost option to mill. The Devimon also provides constant mill. And I believe that was
Impmon security.
Yep. Chaos first check.
So it's gonna be dying, and then Demi-Mara is gonna give the good old draw 2, trash 1.
And now the Emperor is on standby. This is now the second set of games that the Digimon Emperor has made an appearance. which is sort of interesting. I think the longer a format goes for, the more people start like adapting to the format. And BT15 was a rather long format, so people are kind of using everything that they have at their disposal, trashing the Rivals Barrage as their first level 7 option. So if you're Derek, that's probably an indication that this is Beelstar, and Imon gonna go in.
Yep, and he's gonna crash into the MACHINEDRAMON. So there's gonna be 3 more cards trashed. So that's
The
one
Rivals?
Defexmon gone. Rivals Barrage is gonna be played.
Which is
And
not the worst.
not played, placed into the security.
Mhm.
Not security. Battle
Yeah,
area.
battle area.
And Gilmon swing, and also being ready to move.
So
now,
as the machine player, you're in a weird spot because he technically does have enough memory to at least climb a little bit up. But he definitely needs to kind of get into his machine as quickly as possible. To security, you don't want to take too much more. And, the clock is ticking. Now, the Beelstar player is technically going to have a turn off. And Derek is going to use that here to play out the Ultima Connection, I believe that's the name. So it trashes one.
I think
attack-
it's Supreme Connection. Either way, you pick one, you trash one, and then you can select whether you want to have the top, the remaining cards on top or the bottom. So he's just gonna take the MACHINEDRAMON.
Set up his EX1 machine. We see the Megadramon blocker in the trash, so at least he does have a very reliable source of blocker plus the analog. And essentially, if the Beelstar player doesn't kill him this turn, the Supreme Connection will be able to play out the MACHINEDRAMON with a reduced cost of 3, plus the EX1 machines on play to gain that memory as well.
Yeah, it's gonna be quite rough. I mean, you can potentially play 2 MACHINEDRAMONs if the cards are in your favor.
Mm-hmm. And also with the Megadramon from BT15, it will be able to de-digivolve things on attack. One more check. Chikorymon, de-digivolving.
Speaking of the digivolving, huh? I mean, I don't think that's the best case scenario because now he can just evolve into another Gehören that can draw one, trash one.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe this is just the exact line that I was speaking of. To further you go, oh, okay, you're just gonna take Immon.
So
I guess Immon is a Digimon that you can put into raising right now.
Yeah, not too bad. A little bit low value in terms of Rival Barrage typically wants to get those Beelstars back, so then you can constantly apply some pressure. But it's not like the trash is particularly well set up for a Beelstar here. Devimon going to evolve for 3, and I believe
It's it for now.
I think it just mills on attack.
Yeah. So analog man trashing another card to gain 1 more memory and a draw. So with 2 memory at his disposal, he could it is when digivolving also. What's that to be resolved?
It's now just up to machine here to sort of stabilize. They can't really let the Devimon stick around on the board because it could potentially attempt to swing. Now they do have blocker, and they have a few other ESSs. I believe they have the ability to attack unsuspended, as well as the metal Mamemon, I believe that pops 5k. Play cost of 5. So we're just going to see the EX1 machine being played for a reduced cost of 3. And it's going to suck up those sources. Blocker, de-digivolve, attack unsuspended, and DP as well, thanks to the red Gigadramon.
But DP only in your turn, right?
Yes. DP only in
Because-
your turn. The black one gives DP on opponent's turn.
Got it. Like I mentioned, it's been a while since I've seen MACHINEDRAMON, but somehow this deck always creeps up to be a meta contender. But now with MACHINEDRAMON, Yeah,
It's one of those decks that it really comes down. It's the players love their their Mecha Godzilla deck, and the deck is highly customizable. So it always finds ways to put cards into its deck, and I think it's a deck that Bandai has proven that it will get long-term support here and there. So it's the kind of deck that people can always fall back to when they don't have anything else that they want to play.
it's true. That's true. But now to think of, is Pokemon just for sure, or like they don't really play a lot of rookies? I mean, I saw the security Shikaramon,
Yes.
but besides that, I didn't see anything. Maybe they play Doraemon, but you mentioned it earlier. He is playing the style of, I'm just gonna hard play my boss monsters, and I'm not gonna evo into it. So that's a fair point.
Yeah, pretty much. So the Pagumon typically will just be used to cycle one. Now like you said, we've only seen the Chicory. I think you hit the nail on the head with the Dorumon, the security Dorumon. That's a card that can also help a little bit. For what's worth, the Dorumon is just a nice plus one because it adds itself to security from hand and also just adds the top card of the deck. Sometimes it can high roll a little bit and play something like the Numemon. But we're going to see that Impmon being raised and the Digimon Emperor taxing. So at 0 memory here, this is a little bit rough because even if the player wants to play Beelstar, there's not really a ton of options that will do a lot for the Beelstar player.
I mean, Harvest Barrage is gonna remove
some of the sources, yeah.
No, Harvest Barrage would just kill it outright. But
the EX1 Machinedramon has the protection, yeah. It's immune to it can trash sources, and it's also unaffected by DP minus.
Which is not prevalent in purple, no. But
very clutch against yellow. And we also saw the Death X already in the trash, so unless the Beelstar player has a second Death X, which, at this point it's not too bad to de-digivolve the machine, but also not the greatest. We're going to see rivals being milled as well as the second Death X.
Now you would love to have that Harvest Barrage that you had earlier to just pick up that Death X mon to, get rid of the Machinedramon, but I think all the winner takings are resolved. So
as a machine player, you sort of are allowed to take a little bit of damage, because sometimes machine players typically want to play out early and avoid taking damage, but damage in Machinedramon, if it's level 5s, that's just free pieces in the trash. So we're going to see the machine block, and thanks to the retaliation, it has to trash some sources to protect itself. Because I believe that Devimon has retaliation.
I mean, it's gonna be a quick look to find out whether he does or not. But I think he discarded, if I saw it correctly, the blocker because you don't need it anymore.
No, and because of the analog, you're happy to just now redirect for the second swing. This does at least somewhat tell me that he probably has a Chaos in hand. That's why he's happy to just get rid of the blocker. He can always pick it up again at some point.
But I just currently checked. The Devimon does not have inherit, he doesn't have retaliation on his own. So I wonder.
Oh, it's because of the Devimon's your turn effect. It gets 1000 DP for every 3 cards in the trash. So it was probably close to 11 at least, I'm gonna guess.
Okay, that's crazy.
Yeah, so
and that must mean in the trash they're like 15. Oh yeah, no, it comes up quite fast, not to think.
Yeah, very, very fast. And then the on deletion also forcing the machine player to trash 1 card from hand. The Digimon Emperor does make up that advantage a little bit, so it's not the worst trade. Still gets to keep a decent amount of cards in hand.
The question is Impmon now gonna go and try to swing? I mean, yeah. I mean, there's no reason why you don't want to, but so he's gonna tap an Orcman, protecting his security and trashing the top 3 cards, and then
That is 2 options contributing to BL-Star. Not too bad.
drawing 1.
Keeping
trashing.
keeping the Numemon here is actually pretty good because it takes out some of the options that normally target things that are, for example, the lowest play cost or the lowest level. So in a roundabout way, the Numemon is actually protecting the machine against some removal options, which is quite good.
I mean, yeah, like the one from MACHINEDRAMON,
Yep.
and for example. But let's see.
Corporal usually tends.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Okay. I wonder if Derek is playing the, I think it was also ST17 Rapidmon, like the level 5 Rapidmon I'm talking about, because that would also be quite good Digimon and Machinedramon. I mean, I think it's an auto include. We didn't just see it right now, but being able to just trash the top security whenever you swing into your opponent, or if you block or redirect it into you, it's pretty good.
I definitely have to agree. It's a card that helps speed up damage. Also, it gives machines sort of like something that they can play down on the board that a lot of times will make it back to them for 7 memory, because of that protection. And like you said, that it kind of ticks all the boxes in terms of a piece of support that Machinedramon wants. Maybe we just haven't seen it yet, but from this point, Machine is just basically, they've killed their opponent's tempo turn. They haven't let themselves get their security lowered even more. The EX for Machinedramon is established. Currently, there's not a ton of options that the BL-Star player can use to threaten the machine. We could just see the BL-Star coming down a bit earlier, and looks like that's what's going to happen. And just going to play an option, probably just to get rid of some sources. Or looks like he's going to go for the nail bone, do a little bit of expansion on the board, plays out a 3 and a 4, so we're going to see another Impmon, and I believe there's a Ginkaku in the trash, or we could see the Devimon again, since it is a relatively high DP body.
Yeah,
now,
it's also on play that he trashed top 3 cards of his deck, but they choose to play
the Dober instead.
Yes. Which I don't think he has an on-play effect, but he just has the on-deletion to, trash a bit more cards.
Yeah. Does it add back or trash?
It trashes the top 3 cards like Impmon, and then it adds back the 1 purple Digimon or 1 purple card from Tamer from your
trash to your hands. Big bad Chaosmon coming down for only a cost of, I believe, 1, and going to pick up some sources here. Get back that blocker and that DP, as well as, doubling up on the ability to attack unsuspended, so it can immediately threaten the BL-Star, and the machine can essentially 2 for 1 here because of the battle Mamimon. It can clear out the Dober or the Impmon, as well as swing into the BL-Star, so clears the board quite nicely. Shikri in the back, just for that nice draw.
With all that memory, you could even evo into Castramon X to further, build up the advantage that you got. But I guess it would be right now a bit overkill. It would, however, give him even more layers of protection. But
looks like he's gonna go for the Dober.
I mean, he's swinging into BEELSTARMON and then deleting Dobermon as a drive-by.
Pretty much. And I would have liked the Impmon instead, as the Dober doesn't really, adding back a piece here is probably a little bit better, whereas the Impmon is just a blind mill. Looks like he's going to take the Rookie since he has 2 rivals set. It's not like he needs to get back a BL-Star. He can just crack the Rivals Barrage for the BL-Star.
Alright. One Supreme Connection is going to be played, and there we see the ST17 Rapidmon I was talking about earlier. Megadramon. Exactly. I think another Castramon. So yeah, trashing the Rapidmon so it can be found later on. And then I would assume he would bottom deck it.
Looks like he's going to
he's
keep
just
them
gonna-
to the top.
All right. Also, I guess that's the reason, but he didn't choose tap. Digimon Emperor.
Emperor needs, I believe, a
Or
Digimon.
level 5 or lower. So,
Oh,
but I guess there's no shame, there's no harm.
so we see here that he set up his top of the deck in such a way where the analog mans will be able to set up the trash for him, and he will probably be able to draw into that next Chaos Mon. So even if this Chaos Dramon gets somehow removed, he has enough resources to just go back into another one. Double analog is also extremely difficult for a purple deck to push through. And also with the dual color level 5 that can delete a 3-cost Digimon or Tamer, plus the Tyrannomon, plus the ability to attack unsuspended, Machine can just pretty much infinitely clear the board.
I mean, they can just wait it out, control the board, and every time they remove something on board, trash the top security card. And
Yep.
It's tough because
Very,
now
very
they're
tough.
on the clock. And for all the milling that BEELSTARMON is performing, it's not really looking good. So one analog man is going to be tapped.
And like you said, it looks
Yes,
like the calling
two.
being milled here does definitely hurt. Calling is one of the more powerful cards, plus the Digimon Emperor here to draw the 1. And like you said, really the Machine player doesn't really have to go for security, which I think actually benefits them the most, not having to swing, because if you swing, you're checking options potentially, you're checking Digimon. You might as well just play out for the deck out win condition, because purple deck is just going to keep milling cards, right?
I mean, there's like the potential that BEELSTARMON is gonna play I think it was BT7 Avenge Kidmon. Like there's an Avenge Kidmon that deletes like an 8k or plays out an option, and then he shuffles all the option cards from both players back to the deck.
Oh, the Galamon.
I see. So, I mean, is it coming down free? Because
pretty much. It counts for both.
5k.
Yeah, it counts for both players' trashes. So if it doesn't come out for free, it's coming out for extremely reduced cost. And it does have the on-play to kill, but I believe the Machine only being how big is Chaos Dramon? How big is Chaos Dramon? I believe it's 12.
It is a 12k, but unless he has a source, I don't think he has like one of the sources that says on opponent's turn he gets 1k, so he's fine.
He's fine here. The Gallant, all it's doing is swinging and crashing. Not crashing, but attempting to beat over the Chaos Dramon to trash some of the sources. So it's not doing a ton. But since it came out for free, there's no real downside. It could also just attempt to go for security and, ask the analog man to go sideways.
But also the Numemon should be dead because,
Yes.
and I speak it into existence, Numemon is now being removed, and Galamon can threaten to remove. So he's choosing to swing into security, and he's letting it crash, and I guess he's just gonna take out the plus 1k DP, and I think it was blocker or reboot. It was blocker.
It was blocker. For what's worth, the Machine player is in an extremely good spot. So because of the Supreme Connection, they can play another Chaos Dramon for very little cost and clear a decent amount of the board, plus 2 analogs.
I mean, if there's gonna be a bit someone coming down.
So it looks like it's going to be Barrage for Guilmon.
They're just gonna go for 2 Guilmons. Oh, okay. I was about to say it would be quite funny if they can, but no. They could have just literally played out a BEELSTARMON for probably free. Play out not Fly Bullet. What's the name of the option? Nailbone. Play out 1 Guilmon out of trash. Or is it out of hand? Either way.
It plays it from the trash, I believe. So it looks like here he's gonna go I think the point of the Guilmon is they're trying to build up enough memory so they can just slam the Guilmon and it will gain rush. And then that way it can bypass some of the damage. See, yeah, so he's playing the Gabumon for next turn as well as the Ginkaku. So just trying to overwhelm the board as much as possible. And then
true.
Ginkaku swings the last check, Digivolve.
To come to think of, Nabon doesn't trigger on place. So
Yes.
Gilman doesn't get rushed anyhow.
Yeah, so it's pretty much just using the Gabumons to give himself the memory, even if he gets choked to 1 next turn, to have the 3 memory to just hard slam the Guilmon. I think that's why he added it back.
That's a good point.
Yeah, the Dobermon I'm a little bit less sure on.
I mean, either way, there are like 4 bodies on the field. You don't have any security. I mean, you have 2 analog mans that can redirect, but
the memory gain is also very important because remember, he probably has an EX1 machine in hand, so he can always use Supreme Connection to play for a little bit cheaper and develop 2 stacks.
True.
So even if he can use 1 stack for clearing bodies and the other stack to protect himself, and then having the analogs means that he has even more. He can choose what he wants to keep on the board.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a valid point. Let's see.
This is a very long game 1. Would not surprise me if we only really get 2 games, and so whoever wins game 1 is going to be in a very good position.
I mean, it's basically 2 control decks getting at each other, but it's some 2 decks that we don't really see a lot of the times, and there's a lot of decision making that also needs to be resolved here. But how do you pass over the memory without giving too much?
Looks like another Beelstar.
Oh,
is going to be the way to go. Now I'm going to check trash to see if nail boning again does anything.
If he has another
looks like it is going to be nail bone playing out Devi and let's see. And the
security
Impmon.
Impmon.
Okay.
So
lots of threats on the board.
Man.
And then the Dober for passing 4. So, as a machine player, you can clear a decent amount of bodies. It just depends how you want to go about it. Because remember that the what is it called? The option for machine that gives the stack Russian Blitz.
Yeah.
I don't know the name off the top of my head.
Attack of the heavy mobile machine.
Yes, that's the one. Attack of the heavy mobile Digimon does give Rush Blitz, so if he does have the option, he can essentially clear the board a little bit here by just having a ton of bodies. But now we're going to see the analog filtering a little bit here. We see the Gigadramon in the trash to let it clear some of the 3-cost bodies, so this is going to be quite good for clearing things like the Gabumon to deny that memory for them to hard play the Guilmon as well. But this is a lot of Digimon. This is sort of like Beelstar almost cosplaying as Bloomlordmon in terms of like how wide the board is.
I mean, the last time I seen such a wide board was against when Anubismon was at 4. But okay, they're setting up. I feel like it's gonna be Machinedramon being hard played. Let's see. So Chaosdramon is need to do some damage control, and I guess swings into
the Gallant. So he can also swing into an unsuspended body here thanks to the BT8 metal metal Greymon. So it does clear out one of the Beelstars, which is pretty good. And then there it is.
Attack of the let me look it up because now I'm interested what the full name of this
it trashes
card is.
1 and then it gives Russian Blitz, but the nice thing about it here is that because the Machinedramon will be able to gain its memory back, he gets to keep turn here.
Yeah.
And he also has enough memory to go into Chaos and potentially like load some more sources. So this stack of Machinedramon is going to basically do a lot of damage control, thanks to it having Rush and the ability to Blitz as well. Also having Keyword Blocker and DP, it means I can swing into, say, for example, the Gallantmon. Although swinging into Gallantmon, because the EX1 machine is only 11, would crash, so not probably ideal. Probably going to swing it over something like the Ginkakumon.
But here's the thing. Sorry to interrupt you. I just noticed that the option card gives all level 6 that are Machine Rush, and if they have an on-play of getting Blitz. So him crashing into bodies is actually beneficial for him.
Yep.
Because now he can play another Machinedramon.
Yep.
And just swing into something else, which is pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Very, very good. Chaos to pick up the sources again. And this really is the unstoppable force and the immovable objects here. So how many swings does the BSR player have? So currently they have 5 swings. No reboot on site as far as I can tell.
And I think there's no attacking an unsuspended Digimon left. But we need to find, first of all, another Machinedramon or Chaosdramon.
Looks like he's a little bit stuck. Chaos X would be not the worst, being able to trigger the effects again.
It's true, but I think you would pass the turn.
Yes. 100% would pass turn. Yeah, it looks like Machine is just a little bit stuck here in terms of how it wants to approach the board. Because they can't really pass more than like 1 memory. They have to try choke at 1 somehow, because remember that Gabumon when it raises. So it looks like we're just going to scoop to have time to go to game number 2 and maybe play it out in its entirety.
Yeah.
That's the issue with Supreme Connection. It sees so many cards, but then it can sometimes, because it puts the cards back into the top of your deck, you get to rearrange the order, but it does keep them, you know, it's not like you're going to see fresh cards from the top of your deck. You're basically working with what you have.
But yeah, we're gonna have, I guess, 18 minutes for the second game.
Do the players get is this with the time extension?
And this is with the time extension.
Okay. Plenty of time.
18 minutes in a control matchup? I'm not so certain.
It depends if the machine player finds its burn effects relatively early. And can start potentially pushing damage. The problem was that the machine player was just on the back burner the whole time. So going to check hand here. Old habits take a little bit of time to go away. We are allowed mulligans now.
That is true. That is true. But mulligans, I mean, sometimes. Let me put it this way: considering with how many cards we have to increase consistency, sometimes I really be like, man, do we really want to have mulligans? So greedy decks can be even greedier. But maybe it's just me.
And it's that same play again, the Analog Man for 4. Now, this is rough because we saw what happened when BSR got past 4 last time. They just played a ton of bodies to pressure early. So I would not be surprised if the same thing happens again. Christmas Gabumon, gotta love to see it. And here comes down body number 1. Is it going to be an Impmon or perhaps something else? Looks like it is going to be that Impmon for 3. And could potentially play out another rookie or Evo in the back. Or Gabumon number 2.
Yeah. Oh boy. This is just a repeat of last time.
Yep.
There we see MACHINEDRAMON from BT15, but we gonna be
So immediately trashing the sec+1, adding the ability to delete play cost of 3 to the hand, and keeping the Chaos X in the stack, and same pass as last time, that noHEROES. If the noHEROES makes it back to you, you can start evoing.
If it doesn't, okay. Let's see. With 5 not with 5 security, but with 3 swings of BEELSTARMON, this is gonna be reduced quite fast. MACHINEDRAMON is gonna
double. Ideally, the security you want it to be diverse names, so we know that he has a copy of it in the hand. Okay, ability to attack unsuspended, that's quite good. Draw 1, trash 1. Trashes.
I would assume.
The card with the German name that I cannot pronounce, but you may be able to.
Gewaltenschwärmer, yeah.
Yep, that one.
And everyone swinging, trashing, 3 cards, probably. Everyone drawing and trashing one. Let's see.
Trashing
Calling from darkness.
Oh, that's a card that you typically want to keep in hand. It is one of your more powerful effects.
And it's also just a one-off, but I guess trying to end the game as fast as possible. And that's the Chaosdramon. So
now what do you do as BeelStar? Because you're a 0 memory, and you don't want to pass him more than, let's say, 2.
Ooh.
Okay, looks like it's just going to be map for 4. This is actually quite big for Machine, because here he's allowed to evo into a level 5 and evo into a level 6.
But that MACHINEDRAMON being discarded from your hand is kind of tough.
It's okay. You can always pick it back up with Chaos X. So it looks like the noHEROES is going to go in. Fly bullet. That's pretty good. That's a good trade.
That is, but it's pretty bad that this card is in the trash right now.
Yeah, maybe he's just looking to slam the machine. Yep. Crack that delay. Supreme connection. And it looks like it's that BT11 machine. Going to pick up the sources. I think he's going to keep turn.
Oh. He is keeping turn, yeah?
Yep.
And evoing into a Chaosdramon.
Ooh, Chaos X. So Chaos X gets to reproc the when digivolvings, but there's not a ton of when digivolvings that are good here. I think he's just doing it for the ability to start burning security and trying to speed up the game, potentially go to game 3 a lot quicker. We see him that he also, one of the first cards that he picked up was the security attack +1, so he wants to deal damage with this Chaos X.
Yeah. I mean, now he can just recover all Chaosdramon's effects that are like discarded, and he can, redirect one attack, probably find a blocker if he needs it, and if he gets destroyed, he can just trash the security. So this man is gonna be sticking.
Yep, and look at how much quicker the machine was able to come down. He didn't have to play that second Supreme Connection, as we saw in game 1. Having the pieces a lot early means an early MACHINEDRAMON, and it's the Porcupamon.
Man, these are cards I didn't see for a long time.
This is structure deck bulk.
Essentially. But passing the turn.
That's what happens when you ban some of Purple's best advantage engines, the gehören. Picks up looks like he's gonna pick up the ability to attack unsuspended.
I mean, it is useful. Yeah. I mean, for Porcupamon, it's just a blocker, and I think he would have blocked regardless.
Swing. No piercing, nothing else. So just clear out the bodies. Second analog.
And if there's going to be a third one, it would be, okay, Supreme Connection. So we're going to find...
So
And a
Andromon.
machine. 2 MACHINEDRAMONs. Alright.
So Andromon gives you blocker.
But unless you have reboot, it's not really doing much for you.
No, not really.
So the one is gonna be raced.
I think it's interesting that Derek still stays pure to the machine playstyle when the deck first came out with the EX1 pieces. I think a lot of people have moved towards the stack, but it's refreshing to see somebody just willing to just drop the machines and not caring how much memory they're passing to the opponent. Oh, we also see the Imp X. We didn't see the Imp X in the last game, but here, it can be pretty good.
Yeah. So now we're gonna
Mill 2, not too bad. Milling some options as well as the rivals. Still a little bit too early to drop a BEELSTAR, unless he wants to commit for the Nailbone and try the same game plan as last time, of just going wide. But this time, the machine player is more equipped to deal with a wide board.
So now, I guess they're counting their trash for potentially Galantmon.
Yep. I'm not too sure if Galmon is what they want to do here, just because Chaos X will be able to protect itself as well as start trashing opponents' security, which can benefit BEELSTAR.
I mean,
if it's an option.
It is, but it's situational.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, BT15 is gonna come down for essentially for free, and I would assume he's gonna play Nailbone to flood the bot.
The difference, however, is that Nailbone here, Chaos X can pick up an inherit. He has the BT8 to swing into the BEELSTAR, and he can start clearing the bodies around it. Lots of bodies on the board, but machine is well placed here to full clear if he has access to the pieces. So pitch 1, and we see the Tyrannomon.
Right. So he's now drawing all of his MACHINEDRAMONs, and I think he also drew the few cards that he put on the stack, like the MACHINEDRAMON, and I think not Clockmon, I forgot the name, not Shikurimon, also Hagurumon. There we go.
Haguru, yep. Good card. We see the Tyrannomon as well, giving him access to reboot, so his reboot blocker comes online, which means that he's not as reliant on the analog. So swing into the Beels, pop the Imp, mill some more cards. Ooh, milling the Ginkaku is dangerous.
It is, but let's see what else there could be. Alright, so preparing the first deck in this game on the side of MACHINEDRAMON. And I guess if they find another analog man, they feel pretty safe. Counting it up.
He has a Supreme Connection, so he could potentially just drop another machine.
That's also a possibility. But he's got to pick up the pace. I got 6 minutes left. Which I need to remind them that they have a different timer. But I digress.
So they have 6 minutes plus overtime, right?
Yes.
So it's not impossible for Machine to at least take the game out to a draw, but I don't see a win coming out for Machine. At best, he's looking to play for the draw.
I mean, best case scenario, if they go to round 3 and Machine could pressure them, they can win by tiebreaker rules, but it's unlikely.
Very unlikely.
It's unlikely.
Looks like no reboot. Instead, just going to take the Mamemon for the guaranteed blocker. Potentially get reboot on the next turn.
don't we get tiebreakers, or is it just automatically a draw if it's 1-1?
I believe it's automatically a draw since it's only in Swiss. If we were playing, say, for example, Top Cut, maybe they would use a different rule, and it's only round number 2. BeelStar gonna come down. Looks like he's going to pass turn with it and just develop the board a little bit more.
Well, in that case, yeah, in that case, sorry.
Yeah, but remember what happened last time. He went for the nail bone, and the same thing happened where the bodies just got cleared. So he was just running through his BeelStars, but not actually developing too much advantage.
But he has rivals perhaps on the field that he can use to just play out another BEELSTARMON.
Mm-hmm. At least playing out bodies makes it the machine player has to start clearing the bodies and not swing at security. So he's essentially using it to sort of force the machine player to not go for games. And since the BeelStar player is ahead 1 game, even if it goes to a draw here because they won the previous game, it would be quite good for them.
We're gonna see about that. Maybe. Wait, am I seeing it right? There are 3 analog ones on the field right now.
Yep, 3 analogs.
Yeah, it's tough.
Supreme connection, reducing the cost, and then machine gonna pick up some ESSs here. He could go for reboot blocker if he wants to. Looks like that's the setup. And then reduce. Still gets to keep turn, but no rush blitz. But goes into chaos. And now Chaos can pick up 1. Actually, no other sources. I guess he can load from hand if he wants to, but maybe the cards in hand are worth keeping for the analog. For what's worth, the BeelStar player, this Matt has been putting in a ton of work, constantly giving them that memory so they don't get choked.
But right now, MACHINEDRAMON is still playing defense. And 3 minutes on the clock. It is quite tough. Are they aware that they have still 3 minutes? Let me check. No, they're playing. I was about to say.
We could see BeelStar go do it again. Classic BeelStar for Nailbone, playing out more bodies, but this time Machine does have an extra Chaos Tremon to start clearing bodies, so either they can choose to go for full clear or save the Chaos X to attempt to go for, actually pushing security damage. Instead, Death X here.
That's tough. That is just tough.
We're gonna go back to the OG, the one that started all EX4 Machine, clears out the Nume. And draws 1 thanks to Pagumon. Yep, making sure that we are telling the opponent that we drew the card because of Pagumon.
Alright, the time is ticking. Oh, they're still on their turn.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is worse.
And it looks like, again, BeelStar for effectively 2 cost, copy out Nailbone. Now, remember that they have a ton of cards in the trash, meaning that the deck is probably pretty light. So there's a world here where Machine tries to force the BeelStar player to deck out by swinging into things and clearing things that make them mill cards.
I don't think it is small enough.
You don't think it's small enough?
I'm with like just 1 minute on the clock. That's tough.
We still have those 5 minutes of overtime.
3 turns. Whatever.
Or
comes
3
first.
turns, yeah. So Mame can pop something here, I believe. Chooses to pop the Porcupa since it was a blocker. And then kills off the Gabu as well. Looks like he's just gonna start checking security. Rivals Barrage.
Ooh.
Activate main. Don't super love to see that in security. So it looks like he's going to threaten the bigger stack. Trashing the Andromon.
And I think we are now in overtime, so I remind them. All right. So now we are in overtime. This is turn 0.
2 check,
So-
7th lightning, popping a 4 and a 6. This security is loaded with deletion effects, and these are also 7 cost options that are fueling the follow-up Beelstar. Potentially can go for something like a nail bone. Looks like we're gonna get rid of the blocker and the ability to attack and suspended. Don't really need those anymore. Second check, another Rivals Barrage. 2 rivals in security. One of the machines has no protection left. What cards are in the hand? That is the question. Also, remember the Death is going to clear things with the same play cost here, so ideally he needs to play something out so the Death doesn't clear the machines, or at least clears one and trashing sources of the other one. And it looks like it's going to be that hard play Chicory just to soak up the machine, the Death deletion. What's worse, the EX1 machine has reboot, and I believe it also has blocker, so that is 4 ways to redirect.
Yeah, but this is now turn 1, and next turn they need to finish. And if by a miracle they can just pressure the board that they cannot swing anymore, it's tough. Also, Digifreak, Rivals Barrage got triggered in security, so yeah, that's that. So he didn't block.
What a loaded security. 2 rivals and a 7th lightning. Impmon gonna go in first. Ideally, you let the Impmon die here. You're not super pressed because it is contributing to that deck out. So this is 4 cards. So mill 3. And then draw 1, trash 1, which are all mandatory. And that deck is getting awfully thin. But I believe because the purple player turns take a little bit longer, I don't see Machine getting another turn.
If that's the case, it would be tough. But
3 cards left in deck.
So, in other words, if the machine player can just remove Dobamon, force it to trash the last 3 cards in his deck, and pass turn, it's gonna be over. Also, when attacking from Dobamon, so no, he just needs to win now.
He just needs to survive this turn. But remember that the Beelstar player has 4 memories, so they could hard drop Gilmon and gain Rush. Redirect into the Machine Dramon that was going to die anyway, which I quite like. So still has a block and 2 suspend. So this should not be enough if the Gilmon is in play. So block and protect. Get rid of the reboot blocker since you don't need that anymore. Swing. Tap Analog Man. And then swing with Beelstar. Looks like he's going to go for it again.
I mean, yeah, if he has Rush Gilmon. Actually, no, he still
has 1 security. Maybe Beelstar for Nailbone. Oh no, yeah. So Gilmon here will check the last security, and then Beelstar for Nailbone to play out the Ginkakumon does it. So that is the winning sequence. And then Nailbone, add back Beelstar, play out Beelstar, play out Ginkakumon, and with its native rush, that should be game. Since it's not an on-play to gain rush, it just has keyword rush.
Yeah. This was a long game. Gotta say.
Very well played from the BeelStar player, recognizing their outs. That FX putting in a decent amount of work too. The digivolving the Chaos Mons and the Chaos X too.
The FX one is just like DD is like the biggest nightmare of MACHINEDRAMON players.
Yep.
But yeah, with that said, yeah, no, continue.
Colors always hate to go up against like the same color because black is not prepared to deal against the black removal. Black loves to de-digivolve but hates to get de-digivolved back.
I mean, there are some black cards that are also immune to being de-digivolved, like the ST17 Herpetmon. I think there's a Metagramon that is also immune from like Metagramon X antibody. But yeah, we gonna have, I think, quite a short break because this was the last game, and I would assume parents are gonna be live in a few minutes. So we're gonna take our time to find a next feature match. Actually, speaking of right now, parents are live, so we're gonna be back